In this video, I'm going to give you my thoughts on the Mike Israetel insanity that has transpired over the last couple of days. We both share critiques and reactions to our particular field of knowledge that we're experts in and share it with our audience. I've reacted to Mike a couple of times because I have seen that Mike talks about kettlebells in a very derogatory manner, which many times seem to be unfounded. I've also seen through the video from Solomon, which I'm going to talk about in a second, that Mike has a very arrogant stance on things. But at the end of the day, these might be old clips. Mike might have changed his stance. So this is not about slandering somebody or taking a clip out of context, even though sometimes you might think, all right, if I am the smartest coach alive, I am God's chosen coach. If that is still your current way you see things, yes, you might have an issue, my friend.
I'm both on a raw IQ scale smarter than almost every coach.
But on this channel, we usually talk about kettlebells, so if that interests you, I want you to download my free ebook that's in the first link in the description. Grüezi miteinander, Gregory von Lebe Stark here. I'm going to give you a short recap of this crazy situation and how it unfolded in the last couple of days. So a man named Solomon Nelson critiqued Mike's PhD thesis. And I watched the video, and actually I learned a lot from it. I thought it was interesting, and I thought it was a very fair critique. Mike and some of his friends then rushed in to defend Mike's thesis, saying that Nelson has critiqued a draft and not the final document. Later, Mike acknowledged that Solomon was actually, in fact, right because he was critiquing the final document and not an apparent draft. So Solomon then dropped a second video where he was critiquing Jeff Nippard, who rushed into Mike's defense. But my opinion on this video, it was not as good. I started watching it as well because I thought I might be in for a second learning experience. But I'm not here to talk about the drama unfolding. I would just want to give you a timeline because it now segues or gives me the platform to set the stage to talk about what I really talk about, and that is the hidden problem beneath this whole situation. So here's what I see. I think there is a pattern here. Somebody gets called out and then three sides emerge. The explanations for each camp then goes a little something like this. So supporters say, listen, he brought value to the world. He helped me in my training. So who cares if he dropped the ball on that one? Then there's people who say this is a hit piece. I don't listen to hate content per se. And I can't understand how people can make a living off of talking bad about somebody else. And then you have the third argument that says this is not a mistake, this is a lie, and it should be called out. Now let's talk about public critique because that's what I do on this channel as well. The biggest critique that I get about my public critiques is they say, listen, why don't you reach out privately? And in some cases, I reached out to the person and asked about it, and I've gotten no response. Public critiques are valid for a couple of reasons. Number one, when you look at it from a creator's perspective, contrarian videos do get engagement if you talk about somebody else. So if you're trying to make a name for yourself and you find fault in a prominent figure in your industry, you're incentivized to share it publicly. Number two, more people probably want to hear your side of the story. If you keep the exchange private only, then there's no learning experience involved for anybody else because you're not reaching more people. And let's just keep in mind the whole VShred situation. VShred is dominating the Facebook ad space like crazy. These people spend thousands and thousands of dollars on advertising for their particular stuff. If every one of us would have just reached out to VShred personally or privately and said, listen, your kettlebell clean is crap, your whole persona, your whole fitness stuff is crap, we might have gotten no response. And nobody will bat an eye. You see, if we hold each other to a high standard, then we can raise the level of quality information that we have, and we all can get closer to the truth. And number three, even the fan base might need to hear a critical take. Everybody makes mistakes, and sometimes it's a good thing that you hear that your hero is not perfect neither. And I know that critique isn't easy to handle because oftentimes we are emotionally attached to our philosophy and our ideas. And if somebody attacks them or just gives us a critical feedback, we might then be incentivized to think that, oh, this person is critiquing me as a person, while at the same time, they are just critiquing your ideas. And of course, if you dish out critique on a regular basis, you might get some feedback down the line. I have gotten feedback too from the stuff that I did on my YouTube channel, on Reddit, and on Strong First forums or whatever. People talk about the stuff that I do. And sometimes I hear about it and I don't like what they say because they're either misunderstanding my intentions or they're taking my stuff out of context. But you know, it is what it is. I'm not here complaining saying this guy is now completely misrepresenting me, because it comes with the territory if you share your critiques online. And the whole situation also reminds me of the master of sport argument from Pavel Tsatsouline, for example. Pavel shared his master of sport status from back in the day, and then he got called out and the same situation transpired. There were people who say, listen, I got a lot of value from Pavel, so who are you for even attacking him? The same feedback was leveraged towards me when they said, hey, Pavel is the reason why you even know about kettlebells, because your sensei Steve Carter got started with Pavel. Who are you to call him out on that front? But at the same time, I'm not attacking his hero status. I don't see that he's I don't say that he wasn't pivotal and critical in what he did. I just point out a flaw, or at least a question that I'm having. And science-based peer review works like this. So somebody comes up with an idea, with a thesis, and then his peers chime in and give critical feedback and analyze the thesis. Because at the end of the day, what you are trying to do with the philosophies, for example, that I hold dear to my heart, is I want people to critically analyze it, because I know that I'm biased to a certain extent. I have blind spots. So if somebody can analyze my stuff, then they might see an issue that I didn't see before because of my confirmation bias. And at the same time, the more my argument and my philosophies withstand critical analysis, the closer my philosophies are to the truth. And finally, some thoughts about Solomon as well. Yes, he seems to have some form of obsession with Mike. I grant you this. And I have a much smaller YouTube channel than Mike, for example, but I get a couple of these hate stands as well. These are people who seem to watch everything and drop 20 or 30 comments on a channel, always being negative about stuff. So that's not critically analyzing my content anymore. That's just, you know, being a hater or a stan, or as I call it, a hate stan. However, two things can be true at the same time. Solomon might be pathologically obsessed with Mike, and he can share a valid critique, which I think his first video was. I learned a lot from it, actually. All in all, it's been a crazy ride. I always watch these situations and try to critically analyze them. And since one of you dropped a comment on the channel, and since I've had interactions with Mike about his kettlebell stuff as well, I thought you might be interested to hear my take. Here's the next thing that you have to do. Clean and press that like and subscribe button. Share with a friend who's interested in kettlebells. And if you made it this far, download my free ebook in the first link in the description. It's called the Kettlebell Code. If you're over 40, 50, or 60 and you don't want to waste time, you want to get into fitness, you want to get strong, lean, pain-free without going to the gym, I think the kettlebell is the perfect choice for you. And my ebook is going to help you get started in no time, 100% free. You'll find it in the first link in the description. And if you're wondering what type of kettlebell I'm using, it's the Pro Kettlebell, the best kettlebell on the market, period. We are working hard to making it available in the EU, Switzerland, as well as the UK as soon as possible. We have a waiting list in the description where you can get notified once we open up shop. Check the link in the description to get 10% off your next purchase and use the code LEBESTARK at checkout.